But we get to the biggest thing on the show from day one, the fatal 5-way main event for the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar being entered at the last minute, becoming champion, beating Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley. We got a new champion, dude. This was shocking. No one was expecting this up until maybe an hour before the show started, that Brock would even be in the match, let alone winning it. Kind of, throwing the entire road to WrestleMania for a loop.
Yeah, crazy stuff. I mean, once I saw that Roman was out, I kind of assumed I feel like you had to do something with Brock. I was like, oh, maybe they'll put him in it and he won't win. But then I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they did what needed to happen. I like Big E, but I feel like he was kind of spinning his wheels, and we kept saying the last month, oh, were they going to do Big E at WrestleMania? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And from reports I saw, they said that Rollins was originally supposed to win the match. So it's like, then what do you do with him? So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think Brock winning is what realistically needed to happen. I mean, now they do him and Roman. I mean, it's the biggest match they can do. Seems like they're going with the belt unification. It seems like.
You think that's what they're going to do?
If they're both champions, I mean, why not? I don't think either of them would lose it beforehand, unless you had like Roman screw them. But I don't know. The way things are going, I don't know. I think that them two at WrestleMania, both belts on like, unification on the line, and there you go. I feel like that's where they're going.
Is that where you want to see them go?
If the brand split meant something, I would say no. But at this point, I don't care. At this point, I feel like at this point, they haven't really shown, like, besides Priest, which I think they've done well by. I mean, Nakamura as the Intercontinental Champion's been practically useless. The tag titles both mean nothing really at this point. There's really no team, so they realistically should unify those belts, because they don't need to have two champions when there's only like 4 teams. But I think that's where they're going to go. I don't know if I like it or hate it yet, but I guess we'll wait and see. But I feel like, like I said, they don't have so much, like, they don't have enough star power as it is, let alone Drew, Roman, and Brock. So, I mean, you can't just have the belts on them forever. So maybe they do something like that, but they really need to build up some more men, because I like Big E, but I feel like he's good. He's just not that guy.
I think he can be if they built him up properly. That's the thing. I feel like his reign didn't really do a lot to establish him as the guy on Raw. Like, I know people are going to say, oh, you can never really have, like, the guy with 2 world champions. I get that. But I feel like, would you say that Drew and Bobby Lashley, while they were WWE champion, felt more like the guy on Raw, and then the show centered more around them than the show did with Big E when he was champion? Would you say that?
Yes.
And I know it's tough because there's 2 world champions. I get that. But because people are going to say, oh, you're never going to really have 2 different guys because you have, 2 shows or whatever. You can't have one guy. I feel like you can't have the guy on Raw and the guy on SmackDown. And I feel like they didn't have that with Big E. He wasn't champion for long enough. He didn't have enough, like, memorable matches. Like, that's not his fault. They never really gave him the chance.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of presentation as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think Big E is great. I just don't think he was featured or fans thought of him as champion. I love Adam Page. I think you could put him in the exact same category. I think he's good. I like him a lot. But to the common fans, does he seem like a world champion? Not really. So, I mean, I think, like you said, Drew and Bobby, like, they were bigger. They were big time. I think they both felt like they were the top guy, like, definitely the sword carrier for their brand. And I would say the same with Roman. I feel like Big E's good. I don't know. He just screamed like he didn't, like, make the next step, I guess. I feel like he felt like a mid-card champion when he was WWE champion. It's not his fault. I just feel like his presentation was never changed to make him seem like he was a bigger deal than he was.
Yeah, it also didn't help, too, that it wasn't really about him, because he had, like, 2 or 3 different challengers at once. So, like, it was about, like, everyone, like Rollins and Owens, like, and Bobby. They were kind of more of the focal point than Big E was, and I don't think that helped. So, yeah, I don't know. With the unification thing, going back to that for a second, you mentioned about how the brand split currently doesn't really mean anything. I agree. and I hate to say that, but it's true. Is this the end of the brand split? Do you think this is how they do it? I mean, honestly, I feel like they've let go of enough people that they don't really have enough people or enough stars to justify having two different shows. So with that being said, do you think a unification match at WrestleMania could be the beginning of the end for the brand split in WWE?
I do.
And you would be in favor of that or no? I think probably, yeah. I know you talked about before you're not a big fan of it. I forget.
I'm not a big fan of it, but if they can't make new stars, then that's the route they have to go with.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and again, I've always been of the mindset before, and we've talked about this at length, about how I think the brand split creates more opportunities for stars to be made. But given the current circumstances, that's clearly not happening. And they're letting go of a lot of people who could be those stars. So maybe going backward is the answer. I don't know. That's just an idea, and I've been tossing that around for a couple days. But that seems like that could be where they're going. So, do you think WrestleMania is hurt by that, though? If you have one match that has all the gold in it and you're supposed to fill out a two-night WrestleMania, could we have an instance where we have a Universal and a WWE title match on day one, and then on day two, we have the unification match or whatever? I mean, I feel like it's kind of obvious, though, we're getting Roman and Brock eventually. It's more a matter of when and not if.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like you said, I mean, with a two-night show, it's tougher to sell if the big match is literally going to be one night over the other. Like I said, maybe you can do, maybe like they're going to face each other. I don't know. But I think that's the direction they're going. Like you said, if you take Roman and Drew away, or those guys away, they're screwed. So I feel like at this point, you might as well just feature them all on the same show, because there's just not enough stars right now.
Yeah, it's the case. I hate to say it, but sad but true. So it's interesting. I mean, they got to be doing Roman and Brock in Mania, right? They're not doing it at Rumble. It's obviously set in stone for Mania, because I just saw that they're doing the Saudi show in mid-February. So it's Mania, right, for Roman and Brock?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty set in stone.